Hi there, Laura again. It is day 2 of our Key West Sew Along sponsored by Raspberry Creek Fabric. Today we're doing the first 15 steps of the bikini. So if you're not making a bikini, hang on a second, take some time to catch up, and you'll be on for tomorrow. But today, it's the bikini, steps 1 through 15. Let's jump right in. Quick note about the bikini, or the bra, period, whether you're making the bikini or the tank or the dress, is that the instructions for the bra portion are exactly the same whether you're doing a regular bra front or an FBA bra front. So there's no need to look for extra instructions for the FBA. The instructions are the same. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my lining and my power mesh because I want to treat them as the same layer, as just one layer. I don't want to I want them to be connected is what I'm saying. It just makes it easier for me. So I'm going to move this to the side and I'm going to open up my lining, wrong side up, and then I'm going to lay my power mesh on top of it. Then I'm going to line up all those raw edges. All right, now I'm going to grab my clips and I'm going to clip a little bit around the exterior of this, mainly on the top and on the bottom. Now, you can choose to find the center and then draw a line. I'm just going to eyeball it. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to head over to my sewing machine and using a straight stitch. You can use a zigzag even or a stretch stitch. No one's going to see this because this is on the inside. I'm going to stitch and connect these down the center. This is very similar to how the removable swim cups, they do that as well, the stitch down the center. That's how I'm going to connect these two pieces. Now, some people will serge them together or stitch them together all the way around. You can do that too, but I'm going for simple, and I just want to connect them down the center. Okay, so here we are. Take my clips off, and then I'm going to set this lining to the side. Okay, now let's contend with our bra back piece. Now, remember, I've got a main, a lining, and the power mesh. So I have 6 total, so 2 of each. 2 main, 2 lining, 2 power mesh. So I'm going to take my lining, and I'm going to separate it and put it wrong side up. And I'm basically going to do the same thing that I did with the front. I'm going to attach it to the power mesh to this piece. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do this time, I'm not going to go down the center. I'm going to do a seam on each end, and I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch or a stitch line, 1/4 of an inch from the edge, just to base them together. That's all I'm going to do, is just going to base them together. Okay, so here we are. We've got our lining, and our main our lining and our power mesh. There we go. They are attached together, and my main is separate. Okay, now we can move on. Let's grab our front, our bra front, which is here. This is the main. And I'm going to now sew 2 long basting stitches on either end of the bra front. Now, if this is going to gather it in a little bit to meet look at this. It's going to meet our back portion here. You can see it's just a little bit longer on this side. Let me scoot this over so you can see. It's just a little bit longer, so we're going to gather that side, the side of the main. We're going to gather it up to where it is the same height or width, however you want to talk about it, as the bra back. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 basting stitches, one about 1/4 of an inch from the side, another about 3/8 on both sides. Now I'm going to bring my main bra back here, and I'm going to now gather. So I'm going to grab two of my threads, and I'm just going to gather. I just want it to be, it's not going to need to gather much. And like I said, mine is a B cup. So if you're doing an A cup, you're not going to have to gather at all. And it looks like I'm good to go here. So I'm going to tie these ends off. Now just kind of even those gathers out so they're not all clumped in the same spot. And like I said, I'm doing a B cup, so I don't have a lot to do. And we are good to go. Now let's do the other side. I want to show you something real quick while I'm paused. You see how I cut these out? I have dinosaurs facing all up, and then my back has the dinosaurs facing down because I didn't pay close enough attention to the direction of my fabric. So don't be like me, pay attention to that. I don't have any more of this, so I'm just going to have to make do, which is fine. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to place the bra front right sides together with the bra back. Okay, so we've got our bra front here. Let's grab our bra back pieces, and we are going to place them right sides together here. Lining up the raw edges and over on the other side. Okay, let's clip those in place. Okay, here we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sew these pieces together with a stretch stitch or a serger. I'm using a stretch stitch. You'll see that I'm going to use my regular machine for the entire make. I generally use my serger a lot. And my cover stitch a lot, but I get a lot of requests to just make things with a regular machine, and that's what I'm doing with this. You can make swim tops or swim bottoms or swimsuits with a regular sewing machine. Now, so let's connect these together, and then we're going to repeat exactly what we just did on the lining. Okay, so I've done, this is the front, the bra front, and then we have the lining and power mesh that also needs some threads cut off. All right, so we've got both of our layers ready to go. Gosh, I've got threads everywhere. There we go. All right, that is step 2. For step 3, we're going to move these to the side and we're going to make our loops. All right, here is our piece for our loops. All right, and so it says, if you haven't done this yet, if you haven't cut this piece yet, now is the time. If you want 2 loops, you are going to cut this 1.25 inches by 7 inches. If you want 3 loops, you're going to cut 1.25 inches by 10.5. I've done the 10.5, and yeah, here we go. So I'm going to fold my loop fabric right sides together, matching the long sides. You could pin, tape, you can even press it a little bit, just make sure your iron isn't too hot. So it's going to look like this. And then we're going to stitch across this top raw edge. Yeah, so let's do that, and then we will turn it right side out. All right, here we are. I'm going to trim my seam allowance because I used a sewing machine. Had I used my serger, this would already be cut off. But since I'm using my sewing machine, I get to trim it. Now you're going to grab a bobby pin or a safety pin. What do I have here? I'm going to grab a safety pin. And we're going to turn it right side out. You can also use a bodkin. I'm going to use a safety pin. All right. So here's the piece of fabric for our loops. Now if we're doing the 4 or 2 loops, we're going to be cutting this into 4 pieces. If we're doing 3 loops, we're going to cut it into 6 pieces. So I'm going to cut it in half first. Okay, so there's for 2, for the 2 sides. I'm going to eyeball it. Look at that. Look at that. Pretty close, pretty close. Let's eyeball this one. All right, so we've got 6 pieces there. You can measure it, be precise. It's up to you. Or you can just be a risk taker. Now we're going to take each loop and we're going to fold it with the raw edge. The raw edge is the opening of the loop like this, okay? Let me go ahead and, this can be hard to see. All right, so we've made a loop. Hopefully you can see. You see the loop there? We've made a loop, and now I'm going to stitch across, baste across each of those. So I'm going to do this with all 6 pieces, and I'm going to baste those together. If your sewing machine doesn't like this, you can do this by hand. No big deal. But I'm going to try my machine. Okay, so you can definitely tell that my machine did not love sewing those tiny little pieces, but that's okay. So let's set this to the side. Let's grab our main bra piece. Okay, we're going to turn this, my goodness, threads. We're going to turn the back pieces to where they're right side up. All right, and they're facing each other. There we go. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to place 1 loop a 1/2 inch down from the top edge. Then we're going to place another loop 1 inch up from the bottom edge. Then we're going to put the 3rd loop in the middle. All right, so let's put this here. And now you can pin it or clip it. I might use wash away wonder tape. Okay, so we're going to put a tiny little piece. Which is here. We're matching up those raw edges. Just here. All right, and then a 3rd one goes in the middle. You can eyeball that one. Whoopsies. There we go, and let's repeat that on the other side. Now we're going to baste across here to secure them. Sometimes I'm lazy and I skip the basting and I just use the wash away wonder tape as the base. Baste, I should say. So now what we're going to do is we're going to baste. I'll be right back. Ooh, not gonna lie, that wasn't the easiest baste I've ever performed, but it is basted on, they are basted on both sides. I had to get creative. Sometimes machines do not like swim and bulk. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to take both, this is our first set of bra pieces and our second set of bra pieces, and we're going to place them right sides together. Whoops. Right sides together. There it is. All right, now we're going to clip or pin around. Here we are. We've got our lining and power mesh right sides together with our main, okay? And we have cut down to the notch for this keyhole. If you're not doing the keyhole, that's cool. Move on to the next step. That notch that we had to mark is not on the bra section. It's on the bodice front pattern piece. So grab a bodice front pattern piece and go from there, or you could cut it however you want. This is about 4 inches from the top here, and I'm going to use a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to stitch around this opening. There we go. So it looks like I've stitched a U there. Okay. Now, it says with the wrong side of your main facing up, which is here, this is my lining and my mesh. It's facing up. So my right side, so this is the right side. Okay. It's the wrong, or I'm sorry, scratch that. This is the wrong side of my main. Okay, so my outer fabric, my main. This is the lining and the power mesh. I need the wrong side of my main facing up, which it is right here. It says to take a small piece of wash away wonder tape and use it to attach 1/4 inch clear elastic to the top point of one side of the bra front, so here, and then we're going to go all the way down. Let me fix my clip here. All right, so I'm going to grab a small piece of wash away wonder tape. I'm going to put it right here, and I'm going to need to do the other side as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get wash away wonder tape out for that. Now, I am not going to cut my clear elastic. I have this enormous bag of clear elastic. I'm just going to put this at the floor, at my feet. I'm going to place my elastic here. Okay, and it's going to go all the way around like that. I'm not going to stretch the elastic, and I'm not going to stretch the fabric. Now, the thing that's important is that we are very careful that we are attaching the clear elastic to the outer fabric, okay, which is the fabric that everybody's going to see, that one on the outer. So not the lining with the power mesh, but the outer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the paper off of my wash away wonder tape, and I'm going to, what you can also do to attach our lining and our outer is to place a little piece of wash away wonder tape on that lining piece, just so we can secure it a little bit more. It just makes life a little bit easier. Oops, there we go. Whoops, I'm attached here. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take, this is my clear elastic, and I'm going to place it on the wash away wonder tape there. Now you can see I gave myself a little bit of a tail here, and that's just to give me some room. Now, I'm not going to cut, again, I'm not going to cut this off. I'm going to head to my sewing machine, and I'm going to attach this to this raw edge here, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. All right, here we go. All right, so I did both sides. You may have seen I had one hand behind the presser foot, and one hand at the presser foot. I wasn't pulling, I wasn't stretching, I was just guiding. So that's how you do that. Let's move on, trim these off, and let's move on to the next step. So we're still using wash away wonder tape, and we are placing a piece of clear elastic to either side of the center back, so here and on the other side. So let me get a little piece. This is exactly the same as we just did. So we're going to put it here on this upper edge. There's one, and then another one for the other side. And we'll take our clear elastic, and we'll do just as we did before. Just make sure we're sewing the elastic to the bra and the lining from the top to the bottom of each center back through all of the layers. Do not stretch the elastic or the fabric. We're going to do that with both. And we're going to make sure that it's on the outer fabric, what's going to be seen by people when we wear it. All right, let's do it. Okay, so we're turning this right side out. This can be hard to turn right side out, this keyhole area. I'm actually I clipped, let me show you here. Let me turn this wrong side out again. So I took my scissors and I clipped into this curve all the way up to the stitch line without going through it. So I suggest you do that too, just so it turns properly. You could even, if you wanted, you could even clip, you could even clip the corner like this, the curve. That just gives it better ability to smooth out, okay? And once it starts to restrict, you don't have to clip it. But then we turn it right side out. And let's see if that looks smooth. I feel like it's definitely much better. Do you see how that looks nice and smooth? I highly suggest doing that. Okay, so here we are. Now, if you have a cool iron that you can use, you can press this, but be very, 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 very careful. You don't want to melt it. I have done this before. I have melted them before is what I'm saying. All right, so I'm going to grab some clips just for my own sanity. For up here at the top, I just like things to feel controlled when I'm dealing with stuff like this. Okay. There we go. All right, that is looking fabulous. That's very nice. Okay. Woo, now, if you have not cut your elastic for your under bust elastic portion, so this right here, now is the time to do it. So to find the length for your bra elastic, you can use the chart in the tutorial, but it's just really a suggestion only. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. Everyone's body is a little bit different. So what makes the most sense is to find that length. You're going to measure your under bust, and then you're going to subtract 10 inches, okay? So it's better to go, you're going to get a better outcome by using your individual measurements. Now remember, the underbust elastic is not going to go all the way around and meet at the back, right? You're going to have this opening, it could be like this, at the back where the strap crisscrosses. So you don't have to have it, you don't want it to be all the way around. Does that make sense? That's why you can subtract 10 inches and it's no big deal, all right? So that's step 12. We're moving on to step 13. We're almost done for the day. It's time to add our underbust elastic to our actual bikini top or our bra. So I'm going to find the center of my elastic, and I'm going to mark with a clip. And then I'm going to find the center of my bodice here, or my bra, and I'm going to clip that as well. Okay. Here we go. All right, I'm only going to clip it on the top one, not the lining, because I need to be able to I need that to be open, okay? All right, so I'm going to start on this side, and I'm going to take this end, the short edge, and I'm going to put it snug up against this seam, this back, like center seam, okay? And I'm going to line up the raw edges with the edge, the long edge of the elastic. Okay. Now I'm going to match up the center clips. So you want to make sure that everything all those raw edges are lined up. Okay, now you could even stretch your elastic a little bit and clip it again further down, so like this, but I'm not going to. All right, so this is what it looks like. No worries, it's totally fine. We're going to sew with a stretch stitch or a serger along this edge, so we're going to have to stretch the elastic as we go, all right? And we're going to go all the way across. Okay, so now let's place this. We've got it stitched on. We need to place it where the lining side is up. So you can see this is the lining. You've got the power mesh in there. You want the lining side facing up. We're going to fold the bra elastic toward the bra lining, like so. It's going to fold up like this, all right? And then we're going to top stitch with a stretch stitch. zigzag or cover stitch. I'm actually going to use a zigzag on this one. I'm all the way across, so we'll have to stretch it as we go, but that's okay. All right, so let's top stitch this. All right, here we are. This is the front. It looks pretty awesome in my opinion. All right, and now we are finished with day 2 and we're ready for day 3.